we're talking about an average of 6%, but I mean, when you break that down, it's between 4% and 8.5%. So depending on which plan you're on, I mean, it's going to affect you differently. So you're looking at price increases on the lower plans, the family plans, of between 100 and 110 a year, and for the more expensive plans, what they call Health Plus Premium, for example, you're looking at an increase of about €350. So, I mean, they're fairly significant increases, and as you say, they come on top of a whole slew of increases that we've had from the VHI alone in the last 2 years, 5 different increases.
But what exactly is the justification for this? Is the health sector immune to this recession? Because it seems to be.
Yeah, well, I suppose that they say that, look, the claims are coming in and thick and fast, and that 98 out of every €100 they take in goes back out in claims. And, they do have a legacy of a lot of the older people who have health insurance, and so older people claim a lot, and that's a problem for them. They say they have 90% plus share of the over 80-year-olds. But there is a system in place to try and compensate them for that. But it's still, they don't seem to be able to make the economics work. And every intervention by the government seems to add costs all around the place as well. You've policy decisions taken in every budget where it's more expensive for private health insurers to use a public hospital. So that's a problem as well. So medical inflation as well, and consultants' costs.
It all adds into it, but the problem is, and this is where I can't get my head around the VHI model, Charlie. The VHI model seems to be operating on now. Number of customers fall because they can't afford health insurance. Let's put the premiums up. The result of that, again, is that the number of customers falls further. So if they're losing customers, how can they possibly expect to bring down prices in the years ahead if they're pricing people out of the market? And
the very customers they're losing are the young people, the people who are almost subsidising the older people, if you like. The ones they're retaining are the old, expensive ones. The young mortgaged people with young kids. They're the ones who are least likely to claim. They're paying the same premium, the same plan as an older person. They're less inclined to claim, but there are fewer of them because they're under financial strains, and they're the ones who are pulling out. Every time we see figures for the numbers who are leaving health insurance, and there's about 188,000 have given up health insurance in the last 2 years. The invariably are the younger people, and they're the very ones we want to keep in, because if you don't keep the younger ones in supporting the system, it turns into a death spiral where the system just destroys itself, because you've got loads of people drawing out of it and very few people paying into it. It's like a defined benefit pension. You close it off to new members, and before long the thing is dead and it's in trouble.
The problem facing a lot of people and a lot of customers, those who have kids, and I'm in the situation, I saved a couple of €100 last year by switching health providers. I was very glad that I did it, but there are those out there that even with that reduced cost still can't afford to pay it. Like there was that example that I read out just before we went to the break there, a listener saying, what's the point in paying €600 for the 2 kids when there is no private hospital in the country in which to treat children? The reality is that you need it to get a leg up the ladder if needs be, don't you?
It is essentially to get you a consultant. If you need to get a paediatrician, you don't want your kids on a waiting list. That's why you have health insurance. But health insurers are aware that the kids are the very ones who are least likely to be put on the policy. So they often offer kids go free, or the kids' prices tend to be quite competitive. I mean, one of the players in the market, Glow Health, doesn't charge for under 3-year-olds at all. But you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot of families who are just looking at it and saying, we can't afford the premiums. The premiums have gone up all the time. Health cover has nearly doubled in price since 2009. Maybe the option here is to put the parents on a lower value plan, a cheaper plan, and just drop the kids off altogether. Because as you say, there are no dedicated private hospitals for kids in this country.
What the good thing about me shopping around last year was I found the cheaper price, but what's the likelihood of all the other insurers, and we've 4 competing in the market. Yeah, so when VHI puts up the price, is there not an inevitability that Leah and the Glow Health and what's the other one again? Aviva.
Glow, Aviva and Leah.
Yeah. What's the likelihood of all of them following suit and putting up their prices?
Yeah, well, they already have. I mean, Aviva in October had a 7% increase. Leah had a 13% increase, which took effect if you're renewing from the start of this month. And Glow, anybody renewing with Glow from tomorrow is facing an extra 6% increase on average. So, I mean, I suppose there was a bit of an inevitability that, given that those three have recently come in with price hikes, VHI would follow suit very quickly. And, you know, and I'm afraid the really bad news, there's no getting away from this, is we'll see more of this again. It's an uncertain market for insurers at the moment because they know that there's higher levies coming in March, that they're to take effect from March. They're going to be charged more for people who have a private health insurance. If you're in a hospital, and even if you don't get a private bed, you're still going to be charged €1,000 a night. Well, your insurer will be under new proposals coming out from the minister. So all of these add to the costs for insurers, and medical inflation is constantly going up because of expensive drugs and procedures and expensive machinery like MRI scans. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's just becoming a real problem. Health insurance keeps going up.